Hey everybody, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys. We're going to check in on crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, with a little bit of extra focus on Ethereum today as it's starting to stand out for relative strength. It's got the narrative behind it. As we've been talking about recently, the alt season has been taking place in crypto adjacent stocks, most notably Treasury companies, and the theme of the last week plus has been ETH Treasury stocks pumping. Those tops are in for now. We'll look at a couple of those names, but the setup is still there for the potential that ETH gets a turn. So I'll show you what I'm looking for to confirm whether that's happening or not. Feel free to ask any questions as we go. Thanks for the likes and subscribes and stuff. The backdrop. First, let's go broader market. As always, just want to know that backdrop. What's sentiment like? How are we doing? We've got the NASDAQ today hitting a new all-time high with no follow-through. So daily bull flag confirmed. We have to be cautious because if we confirm a daily bull flag, it's looking a little rising wedgy in the sense that we have a bull flag confirmed straight into consolidation, and now we have another one without follow-through. We're watching the S&P 500, which didn't break resistance. So if we were to turn around and then break support, that would tell us temporary top is in. No red flags at the moment, but just something we're keeping in the back of our minds. But for now, daily uptrend is our guide. Broader market bulls still strong. Bitcoin has been forming this 12-hour equilibrium. I've been posting on Twitter over the last 5+ days, highlighting this was the most likely scenario and then step by step as it played out. And so why was this the most likely scenario? Once you get significant volatility in both directions with a retracement that's greater than 50%, scout the equilibriums. They're the most likely scenario. They're the most common pattern in trading. So we then got the bounce and got the lower high that we knew to be looking for. We then held support, and here we are this morning rejecting from resistance. We are still range bound, and we're still in a 12-hour equilibrium. So what would need to happen from here is if we confirm an hourly downtrend, it'll be a 12-hour lower high being set. We're just battling 109 thousands. You could zoom out and say if daily EMA 12 is support, the bulls are just fine, and I would agree with you. If we lose daily EMA 12, it's a more convincing rejection from resistance, and that means the weekly chart can then tighten up for a while. It's entirely possible we do something like this into the end of July. So this is an important short-term battle to dictate the probability needle of, is this a weekly lower high for continued tightening, or can we get an all-time high here in July? And we're going to get that probability needle is going to shift significantly within the next 2 days, I would say. And I'm traveling soon within the next 2 days, which means that's when it's going to happen. But while we've got Bitcoin tightening up on its 12-hour equilibrium, we've got ETH breaking its 12-hour equilibrium bullish. So that shows us relative strength. That's a good sign for these bulls. Riding daily EMA 12. Look at the low of each day for 5 days in a row, holding that, and now the highest level that we've seen in 3 weeks. Next major resistance, 2682, which we are approaching. High of today, 2676. So that's in play. But dominance chart, weekly consolidation underway. Weekly EMA 12 has been holding here all year. Got to lose it for the first sign. I've been saying for months, nothing changes if the dominance chart is forming weekly higher lows. And that remains the case. But you could get a potential earlier signal by losing weekly EMA 12. That'll be a first little indication, okay, something is shifting, follow through is needed, but something is shifting. So we will be keeping an eye on that. And of course, ETH BTC, as we know, we've got to break this weekly wall of resistance for us to say this is different. That would be the first confirmed weekly uptrend that ETH BTC has seen since, here was a bad one, but we're talking over 2 years, at least two and a quarter to 2.5 years where this has not happened. And it's trying to shape up. And if this weekly uptrend confirms, we're going to look at the long-term chart and say, okay, is this a long-term hold of this level? And in an ideal world, if you're an ETH bull, you're going to be hoping for something like that, for a major shift. Now let's talk about narrative. Narrative is very important to me. Narrative is almost more important than fundamentals for me because narrative drives emotion and it drives price action. And so, for example, I've been trading these crypto treasury stocks like a madman over the last 2 weeks because it's clear that that is the narrative. What drives the narrative? Media, social media, CNBC. So again, you got Tom Lee, known figure in finance, starting or becoming the head of the board or whatever he is for BMNR. Top is in. But becoming the head, and again, it's the narrative. So he's saying, okay, stable coins are the thing, and companies or banks are going to have to buy ETH to have some control over the platform that their stable coins are built on. The narrative is set. Whether you believe it, whether it's true, doesn't matter. It's the narrative. And now we're watching for, does the herd latch on to this narrative? And if ETH BTC breaks the weekly chart bull, the answer is yes, that is what's happening. So we're watching for it. We're starting to see the things come into place of, okay, this could be what is needed to lead into, just like the Bitcoin ETF. I'm getting all the ET acronyms. The ETF, it was front run. We had a nice run leading into it. And then the actual ETF saw the buying lead to another major leg up. So what the bulls are hoping for is the Ethereum narrative drives a little bit of front running and relative strength in ETH. And then these companies actually buying hundreds of millions of dollars of ETH then magnifies that a bit for a little bit more upside. So with regards to these crypto treasury stocks, these are trading vehicles. I'm trading the hype, I'm getting the money and getting out. I'm leaving a bunch on the table because I'm not holding for an 1,000% gain. I'm just grabbing, give me 5%, give me 10%, give me 15%, give me 5%. I'm just doing that over and over so that I'm not holding when the inevitable drop comes. If you're going to shoot straight up 1,500% or whatever it is, you're going to pull back minimum 40%. Generally, it's 40 to 60%. And at this point in time, BMNR has given back 65%. Granted, it's only giving back one day, that final climax day, but top is in for now. And we're going to look for it to do the same thing that CEP did. Shoot straight up, give back 40 to 60%, find a base, tighten up, it then broke bear, and then Circle is doing the same thing. Shoot up, go nuts, pull back, there's your 42% pullback. We're now going to look for a daily equilibrium where we're going to do something like this, set a lower high, tighten up. If these break bear, they can keep fading like CEP did. But again, these are trading vehicles. I have zero interest doing anything but trading these names. So BTCS was another one. I was trading it like a madman yesterday, up straight up 100%. Then they released dilution news and it drops hard, right? So there's risk involved with these things, obviously. If you're going to run hard, you're going to pull back hard. So now the question is, can we see, all right, so is the ETH Treasury company narrative done for now? Everything that ran hard is saying, yeah, it looks like it's done for now. BTBT, straight up, 100%, daily consolidation underway. All right, it's done for now. Can that lead to ETH itself getting some turn? And so far it's, it's nice. It's a nice move, but it's not anything to write home about. But we're watching to see if it can be something more than that. Hourly EMA 12. Bulls would love to keep riding that up. But again, if Bitcoin, it's possible, there is a possibility. It's not the most likely scenario, but if Bitcoin tightens up on the weekly, let's say we fail 109 and pull back towards 105s. As we know, sideways in a range after strength for Bitcoin can be bullish alts. So there is a possibility where that happens. I personally would prefer Bitcoin gets an all-time high and then ETH just outperforms it. But that's what's on the table. And so because of all of that, ETH has my attention more so in the short term here than it has had in a while. And so we'll see if that rotation can continue. Other altcoins, they're having a nice day today. XLM is a lead bull. Just 2 days erasing a few weeks of downside. As we know, the altcoins that are getting our attention are the names that are in 2-week equilibriums tightening up. So we've got our low, high. This is a great example where if your coin is forming a 2-week tightening range, you want it to do exactly what XLM is doing. And there's a lot of examples. Let's just go ENS, stay on the theme of ETH, ENS. This needs to be the 2-week high or low for us to keep tightening up. So if we get over 1976, then that will be, yes, it is officially set. So tightening 2-week ranges, and these tightening 2-week ranges must break bull if we are going to see altcoin strength. And so let's just run down this list real quick. TRX is doing its slow grind thing. TRX has always stood out for its lack of correlation. I shouldn't say always, the last bunch of months has stood out for its lack of correlation. Again, how many names are testing high of 2025? The answer is not many. And so it's a slow grind. It's not exciting and sexy, but it is one of the stronger names over the last couple of months just because of the bull control. But let's go back to the 2-week and stay on topic. Binance tightening up. Yeah, you could view it that way. I just view it like this. QNT, not the same setup. Ape, trying for a 2-week high or low. LTC trying for it. So most names have not set it yet. Link has just set the 2-week high or low. Most names haven't set it yet, but that's what we're watching for into mid-July. Can these 2-week higher lows be set to try and get a longer-term bull break shaping up? Still a lot of work to be done. Step 1 is the 2-week higher low. The big step is breaking the 2-week tightening range bullish, but it's trying to shape up. SUI is trying for it. That's just a beautiful 2-week equilibrium looking for that higher low. So how do we use that information? My mindset is if I'm a bull, the lows need to be in right now. If we drop down to another lower low and break the low of the last couple of months, that for me is a pretty solid red flag. This needs to be the 2-week higher low if we're going to progress from here. There's a bunch of names still weak that hit lower lows. Any name that has a 2-week lower low is weaker than any name that is trying to form a 2-week higher low. I don't generally use the 2-week time frame. That's just where it's the most smooth and clear. XRP has a beautiful 2-week equilibrium. Higher low is set. Add it to the stronger list category. It's a beautiful equilibrium. It's been forming at this point for 3.5 months, and it will break, if not in July, very likely in August. Mana trying for one. Sushi trying. Algo, more of a double bottom, but trying. CRV is trying. That's another beautiful one, less developed. Has more proving to do to set the 2-week high or low. But XRP, CRV, I like those names a bit more because rather than just, the comparison here is you've got, okay, LTC, well, wrong example. Let me get a better one. No, I mean, they're mostly the same. I was going to say a longer time frame that we are tightening within, but they all are coming from back here. It's just a little bit more clear on names like XRP and CRV. So let's see if bulls can follow the lead for XLM. You need the dominance chart to lose weekly EMA 12. And let's see if Bitcoin sideways means alts come out and play. It's been a long time since that's happened. All right, reading the chat room. IXHL, probably a penny stock, so I'm not interested, but yeah, no interest for me, but not a great sign to give back that pump. Bulls want to see a close over 23 today. Total 2. Same thing, 2-week, right? 2-week equilibrium, higher low set. That's got to break bull. When I'm looking at a technical setup for a dividend stock, I always adjust. I view that as an artificial change in the price of the stock. So yes, I always adjust. And then I unadjust. If you're in blue sky breakout, but you unadjust and there's a level to be looking at, I toggle on and off. But for the most part, I'm adjusted. Asking about MSTY. Let's talk about those other names. Coin looks just fine for the bulls. Daily bull flag. Higher low is set. Trying to grind back to the high. MSTR just set a daily higher low. Key support now. 393 needs to hold. We've been chopping around. The miners, Riot, they had a nice run. Those daily higher lows need to hold. That low of Friday. CLSK, multiple daily inside bars, means volatility is coming tomorrow. SEI, pretty sure it's the same, trying to form a 2-week higher low. Nope, it already broke bull. So 2-week uptrend. So we zoom out, we remind ourselves it's a long way to go where anything under 74 cents is a monthly lower high, but bulls do have some short-term momentum. I'd be on the 2-day equilibrium. Well, nope. 36 hours probably going, but what my brain sees here, it just goes straight to higher low, lower high, higher low. We held this support, 24.55, and now we're going to look for a lower high compared to 31.44 to keep tightening up. That's the most likely scenario. Short-term resistance, got to get over 27.09 for that to be the most likely scenario. I don't know what SGMT is. Bioscience? No. Glad you got a nice position. ETH proxy favorite. So I look at ETHA divided by ETHU, and it's been in an uptrend for, nope, other way around. ETHU divided by ETHA. No, what was I looking at? Maybe I typed it in wrong. Anyways, it doesn't fluctuate much, but we can say that ETHU has been outperforming ETHA for the last few months. But again, what I really dislike about the ETH proxies is your hands are tied for 2/3 of the trading day. 24 hours versus, with extended hours, maybe you get 11 hours, 10, 11 hours of trading. So you just got to be aware that you're at a disadvantage if you're swing trading. AAVE go to the 2-week because that's where I have the clarity on most, and I can say, okay, it's not the same setup as everybody else, so we'll start with a clean slate. All about monthly resistance of 400. If we reject, we look for the monthly equilibrium, but there's no sign of a rejection yet as long as we keep the weekly uptrend. So weekly higher low is 213. We are in a daily uptrend, nice and clear little higher lows along the way. Got to be cautious again. So bulls have control of the trend. I put on my bear glasses and say, okay, what do I need to be cautious of? What would catch me by surprise? Could be a 12-hour rising wedge. Don't have high conviction in it. I just want to ensure I'm watching it so I'm not caught off guard. But you could just stick with the 12-hour higher lows. We've been forming 12-hour higher lows this entire bounce. Nothing changes if we keep forming 12-hour higher lows. So most important support in that mindset is 277. And again, resistance is going to be all about 325.20. And then the monthly resistance zone, 350 to 400. But again, how many altcoins can say that they are approaching multi-month highs? There are not many that can say that. Bitcoin still trying to bounce a bit. Potential for an hourly equilibrium on Bitcoin. We've just been tightening up on so many time frames. Comparing it to ETH. I guess I say ETH now, huh? Hourly higher low set. Stronger. ETH BTC. So again, when you're in the spotlight, you want your altcoin and your altcoin BTC pairing to be doing the same thing on their charts, or the BTC pairing to be stronger. One or the other. And so here it is. It's a little bit stronger. ETH BTC is trying for an hourly bull flag. This is a good sign for being in the spotlight. We can get a red flag when things shift. ETH USD gets a new high. ETH BTC fails. It gives us a little initial red flag. But for now, there aren't any. So we looked at XRP. Again, I don't like any of these ETH proxy companies for anything other than trading hype and momentum. That's it. I don't like, I mean, they're diluters, right? So you're going to have to sit through dilution headlines. I mean, that's what just crushed BTS. It dropped 20% instantly after hours yesterday. BMNR, same deal. That's what's crushing it, is dilution. So I don't like having the dilution guillotine hanging over my head. This is a crypto stream, everybody. Crypto stream. Figma. I don't know Figma. Looks like it's not trading yet. Figma, IPO, BTC Treasury. I'll have to look that up. Don't know. I'll get back to you on that one. ETHU trades 24/5 on Robinhood. Thank you. That's useful information. Less hand tying. Still hand tied, but not as much. I post trade reviews all the time in my broader market videos. In fact, last week's broader market video on our YouTube channel is a 20-minute trade review of how I trade Euphoria and hype breakouts. And BMNR is the name that I went in depth into. So watch the second half of that video. I'll get the link for you. Everybody should watch it. I don't want to sound egotistical, but I put out fire content for full-time traders. I know it's stroking my ego, but it's really good. And I know it's really good because I get into flow state and I get jacked up talking about it. So watch the second half of that video I just posted, and it's very in-depth. BCH, haven't looked at it in a while. It's had a significant amount of relative strength, huh? So if we form a daily lower high, we'll have a tightening range, the most important support and resistance. These are the levels we watch. If we confirm the 4-hour downtrend, got to be cautious of that daily lower high being set. So if it is being set, we'll look for something like that to tighten up. Bigger picture, it's looking great with the weekly uptrend. No red flags. And again, you just want to see BCH, BTC continue to show strength. Looks like it's struggling at this level. This was a double top of resistance and we broke above it, but we're still battling it. Bulls really want to convincingly get over this on BCH, BTC for relative strength to continue. Because if we reject here and start weekly consolidation, we're going to start to see relative weakness in BCH compared to BTC. So this is an important resistance test, and it's been a month in the making. We're battling it. I don't think there's a way to buy XRP on Fidelity at the moment. I think they're trying to make the ETFs and things like that, but I'm not sure one is active here and now. Haven't covered ADA. I think it's a bit weaker. It's trying to hold this base, so we know the most important support. 2-week time frame. Double bottom. So again, it's the same thing. The only difference is we came all the way back to support where other names formed the higher low and didn't retrace the whole bounce. So that makes it a little bit weaker, but it is still a very similar setup. And again, you know, ADA, if things don't get pumping in the alt space, ADA can easily just do this for another 2 months. So we really need the dominance chart to fall apart. We need hype and euphoria. We need the narrative from ETH, ideally. Otherwise, a lot of these names can stay range bound for a while. I don't know why XLM is up big today. It's pretty rare that XLM will do its own move and XRP will not be tagging along nearly, XRP is bullish, but, usually they're within at least a few percent of each other. Morning volume surge indicator is for stocks only, and it was included in an annual membership deal that we just ran. So it's not generally included. We include those indicators in a bunch of different deals we run. All right, so again, if you are interested in learning about trading, technical analysis, psychology, you got to go outside of my crypto videos because I am primarily a stock trader. My stock trading insight and knowledge is what has allowed me to significantly profit in crypto. But in my opinion, the real traders are the ones that are in all different markets and hopping around at different opportunity. Not to say if you're not doing that, you're not a real trader, but you know what I mean. And again, you can learn from my stock market videos and apply 90% of what is said to trading crypto. The only thing that's different is, gap ups and things like that because of the limited trading hours. All right, I got to run and get back to trading. Let's see if Bitcoin can break resistance. Next 2 days are key, remember. Keep your eyes on ETH, on ENS. The hype is done for now in the ETH Treasury companies. The question is, do those profits rotate elsewhere? And that is what we are hoping for. As always, do good things. Thanks again. 50 likes sucks, but I know you need a little push to push the button. There's your push. Thanks.